So we have the next person who's going to speak, and he's right there in front of me. His name is Debola Lewis. And funny enough, you know, himself and Ijoma, were you classmates?
Nah.
No, you weren't classmates, okay. But you're just, I guess you're in the same industry kind of thing. So I'm just going to read a little bit about Debola because he's quite accomplished. It says here that he's widely celebrated for his exquisite and sophisticated designs. Debola Lewis is a lifestyle entrepreneur making giant strides in the event and wedding industry in Nigeria with footsteps across West Africa. He's the CEO of Event Couture, an upscale event design company based in Lagos, and recently founded the Anthony Lewis brand, a premium luxury bespoke events, bridal and interior design company exclusively for high net worth individuals. He's recognized for his innovative and entrepreneurial achievements by Forbes Awards Africa, Business Day 40 Under 40. He's also an alumni of Leap Africa and Lagos Business School. And he goes on and on and on. He recently helped us with we had a wedding in our sitting room, and he was able to turn the sitting room into a beautiful wedding venue. So without much ado, Debola, can you just come on and, you know, we had agreed, what, 35, 40 minutes. Just tell us what it is you want to tell us today. Welcome.
Thank you, LB. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Gemma. That was a fantastic session. I actually learned a lot, and I'm happy I logged on time. Okay, so, well, first of all, LB, please pardon me. I am not as accomplished as I'm still getting there, you know, because one of the...
no, Ijoma says we should say we are accomplished.
Well, we are accomplished, but also, you know how it is when you need to always think of improvement. I'm coming from a place of humility that you can learn more. So that's where I'm coming from. So yes, we are accomplished, but there's always room for improvement. So I'll be talking about, you know, taking the first steps in building a creative enterprise.
Sorry, Debola, I think I'm still pinned.
Yes, okay, you're active. Well, okay.
So that they can see Debola.
We can see Debola.
Okay, okay.
Well, I can see Joma on my screen, so.
Yes, so they can see me on their screen.
No, I need somebody else because I can see you, Debola.
Oh, okay.
Is that what is happening?
I can see him too.
Okay.
I have pinned his own video, so maybe, yeah.
Okay, great. So, yes. Okay, so some still says they see Joma.
Okay, I'll work on it. Please just continue. I'll just see what I can do.
Okay, great. Okay, so like I was saying, I just will throw more light on building a creative enterprise, since, you know, that's more like my forte. It's easier for us to, you know, take it line by line, coming from a creative angle. So I would try and put my story in, you know, in the steps as I go along so that I can relate it and it's more, you know, real. So for me, the first steps in building a creative enterprise is, okay, first of all, let me address the issue of inertia, since that's the framework of this talk. You know, inertia is that resistance, like LB and I discussed, and which is what it is. It's that force. It is part of you. It's inside of you. You know, it resists any external thing that causes you to change your direction or change your velocity. You know, so coming to the human person. So it simply means we have resistance inside of us. It's not external. So for especially for most creative, or, you know, all creatives, we fight a lot of resistance. We fight it every day in our businesses, in our personal lives, in little things. You know, resistance is that thing that keeps us from losing weight. You know, I'm still fighting that battle. I'm going to win it by God's grace. Amen. You know, resistance is that thing that gives you an idea, but acting on that idea becomes a problem because you find a lot of excuses, that withhold you from starting. And the interesting thing I learned is the simple antidote to resistance is simply work. In Yoruba, they say, Ishe ni ogun ishe. Ishe is simply work. It's as simple as it sounds, but it's a lot of work. So going back to the entrepreneurship, the first steps, is really about you. Deal with yourself first. So let me call it, to yourself, be true. Ijoma mentioned a point, which is talking about your why, understanding your reason for what you want to do and why you want to do it. Now, there are also other things. Taking responsibility for your thoughts, because your thoughts informs your decisions. Your decisions inform your choices. Forgiving yourself, because most times it's easy to be angry at ourselves for not doing things we thought we could do. I'm in my 40s now, and there's some things I wish I did when I was in my 30s, that, I wish I could have done this. Probably I could have had, a certain outcome in this area, in that area. So your thoughts, are critical. Forgiving yourself, understanding that what goes inside of you as a man thinketh, so he is. So those are the critical things. You need to let your mind also live in like the solutions of the future. So critically, what I'm trying to say here is everything you think about is most critical. What you feed yourself with, what goes inside of you, what you ruminate about when you're by yourself, the things you think about, they are really critical to your future. And if you want to create an enterprise, it's really, really important. You would have thought about how you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years, the possibilities, all the opportunities involved, things that are possible. Just so your mind, your thoughts are very important. All right. The second, so for me, when I say thoughts, your thought process, when I was starting out, I've been doing this for about 13 years now. And when I was starting out, I understood myself to an extent. I didn't really plan to accomplish X, Y, Z, but I knew the things I didn't want. I knew the things I didn't like. For example, you could not arrest me, cuff me, and take me to a bank to work. I can't, because I don't like routine in that sense. I mean, routine is good for, we will get there, but in that sense of the same old thing every day, wake up, go to the work, go to the bank, and come, I couldn't survive in that kind of routine lifestyle. So I understood clearly what my siblings tried. They got me jobs. I said, no, I don't want this kind of lifestyle. I am expressive. I'm adventurous. So I knew what I wanted. And that's what informed me, seeking out a role model and interning in an events planning company. Funke Buckner precisely, is a fire events. And even because of the way I think, it informed the way I approached. Because I also know that, someone of that class is inundated with calls. People want to learn, people want to train, and it can be, because I get those calls, and it can be quite, so I went from a different route. I staged my approach such that I was preferred, and with the first phone call, we had a meeting. So that's what I mean by your thoughts informs, the way you act, your decisions, and, ultimately your future. So the next step, once you've decided on your thoughts, you've agreed on what you want to do, how you want to go about it, you need to seek wisdom. And wisdom is wide. So one part of seeking wisdom is getting a mentor. Now, most times, getting a mentor doesn't necessarily have to be a physical mentor where you must sit down with them and talk. You can have those, you should have those. You can also have virtual mentors. And you should have mentors in different areas of your life where you yearn for improvement. And getting a mentor is simply seeing someone that is in a place where you would like to be, and try to listen to them, understand how they did it. As simple as that. So for me, my mentors were one, my former boss. Then I also had this very, very, what's the word?
Hello? Can other people hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it's him who's frozen then. I'm sure he'll come back in a minute.
A knack for excellence, symmetry, lines, things proper,
Sorry, you were frozen for a minute.
Can you hear me? I'm not sure where you lost
We
me.
can hear you now.
Okay. So I think, I don't know if you heard about when I spoke about a mentor.
You just said what we heard was that your former boss was one of your mentors, and that's where we
Okay, so my former boss was a strong mentor, because she was also in the line where I wanted to be. And then my pastor was the one who really taught me about excellence, very finicky, almost to a fault. When I arranged things, I needed to check if they were in a straight line, things like that. And at that time, I didn't really realize that this would inform my now. It was just me, applying the principles of life way back then. I didn't think I have an idea of being an event designer then. I just knew I liked adventure. I was very creative. I liked designing and stuff, So getting a mentor, yes. So you can also, they can be virtual. So I have people also that I buy, I listen to them online. I follow them closely. I try to understand their lifestyle and learn from them, even though they don't know who I am. But I know about them, and I see what they become. I want to become what they become, and I learn step by step in that line. For me, in the design industry, the first thing I did was I looked for the number one designer, one in Nigeria and in America. And because I was a crazily bold guy, I have a lot of faith. I'm very daring. So I just zeroed my mind and I said, my excellence level is going to start from this guy's level. So even at my very beginning, my very humble beginning, everything I did, I was trying to do it at the level of people who have been there 25 years, 30 years. Then, when I was doing it, will I say it was intentional, but it wasn't calculated. It was more of the desire I had based on the kind of thoughts that were within me. So I just knew I wanted to operate at the most, at the highest level of excellence achievable. So, seeking a mentor. Also, when you have a mentor, it helps you to be accountable. It is quite challenging as an entrepreneur if you don't have someone you're accountable to. Sometimes you get to relax, you rest on your hours, because you're your own boss, you're not really answerable to anyone. So it is very, very easy to just coast, and then get into that comfort zone. So, but when you have someone you're accountable to, it keeps you on the edge. So even a mentor might not be someone in your line of business. It can be someone else, entirely, but they keep you accountable. They keep you in check. Sometimes they give you assignments. You have to forget. You have to revert. You have to give feedback, work on it, and all that. It helps your improvement. Also, the saying goes, it saves you years of mistakes. Years of mistakes, because they've been there, they've done that. The elders in our land say, when a child cuts a tree, the elder can see if he's going to fall to the left or to the right based on the way the child is cutting. So getting a mentor helps you, align and erase all those things, and you can move faster and achieve better. Another part of seeking wisdom is selecting your association. It's very, very important because you become your environment. and people that influence you play a very important role in how you live out your life. If you accept mediocrity, around you, in terms of your friends, your staff, people around you, you would naturally get comfortable with being mediocre without even realizing it. So for me, I chose very high achieving friends. You'll be surprised. For example, I have a friend, we've gone beyond friendship, is my brother, right? Like we've known for about 10 years or more. But we can still, when I want to have a serious lesson, we set up a Zoom meeting, and it will teach me stuff. I will take notes. When it needs critical advice from me too, it will be done in a serious manner. So people, you need to select your association. So, that helps because when you are looking up to someone and someone looking up to you, it inspires you and also drives you. So your association is very important in terms of not just your friends, your spouse, people you choose to relate with, even your colleagues at work. It doesn't mean you should be snobbish or how it can be termed in a funny way. But then the truth is you need to be selfish because this is the future, right? So your association will play a major role, in getting you to where you need to get to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So okay, so in also seeking wisdom, you should understand that whatever enterprise you're trying to play into, has a set of rules. It's like an ecosystem. Every ecosystem have rules, that guide them. It's like the food chain. For example, the lion knows that if he wants to hunt a buffalo, you won't face it head on. If not, the horns would hurt him. It will attack from the back. But the same lion, if he wants to attack a zebra, he shouldn't go behind because one kick from the zebra would dislodge the jaw. So it will go from the side and to the neck. So you must also understand whatever environment, or let me come to entrepreneurship now, whatever industry you choose to play in. You must understand that there are rules that guide these industries. There are ways by which, you can, there are laws that guide success. There are laws that guide survival. There are laws that guide all these things. So you must also understand these things and apply your wisdom to them. So basically, the third one will be to seek knowledge, right? So whatever venture you decide to engage in, whatever enterprise, whatever, because most times a creative enterprise is really about service. Almost about 80% of the time, it's really about, is their service based. So it's easy to attack them with yourself. So you seek, because more complex industries require more complex approaches, e.g. like production industry or manufacturing industry. There are things that you need to do. You need to have a certain kind of capital. You need to have, all these business plans and all of that. But with the creative enterprise, it's a lot, in quotes, easier because you can start with what you have, really, and actually move. So you need to seek knowledge, knowledge about what you want to do, in-depth knowledge. In my own case, when I started, I read books. I looked for all the major designers that were around, and not in Nigeria, abroad, America, and I bought all their books, and I would study, I would read, I would even know things that are not my business. For example, in event design, I'm not a florist, but flowers are a major part, of my work. So I had to learn all about flowers. I really can't arrange a centerpiece to save my life, but when I instruct my florist on a design and a pattern, it's hard for them to believe I don't know how to do it. I teach them how to arrange, I teach them the symmetry, the line, the form, because I've studied it, I understand it. And it also helps me because I can dictate the level of excellence which I want to operate in. I'm not subject to what anybody brings my way. So I learned all the different aspects to the carpentry, to the metal works. I know all about them. I go to the market myself. I know the prices. And this is important, whatever venture you want to do, so that one, you don't get bamboozled, you don't get stuck in a box, you can understand that there are options, you know what to use for how, you learn the techniques. Someone said technique is waiting at the back door of genius, So understand, learn a lot, buy books, read, study, seek knowledge generally. Seek knowledge, know more about your ventures, the possibility it offers. In my own case, when I started by learning like balloons, the regular, not even the kind of balloons you do now, normal, basic balloons, ribbons, way back. I don't even think I was being paid then. I was in it for fun. There was this friend of my mom, I would always follow her when there was a break in school, and my mom didn't understand what I was doing, but she was just, which is also important. Parents need to be very supportive of the children. She was just supportive. She was encouraging. She would just let me go, even though she didn't understand, why I was wasting my time. We'll go all night. Pardon me, I think my internet. Okay. She didn't understand what's this decoration thing you're just going on and on about. Anyways, if it gives you joy, go ahead. Coincidentally, the same woman who would tell me, I don't know what you're doing, she got me my first job. And I can remember very well then, I think it was 5,000 naira. And I did it with all of my heart, with all joy. Like, I had work to do, I had a business to do, So, where did I start? Okay, I was talking about learning. So for my own case, I learned the ropes. I understood what I wanted to do, and I went for it. Got the books, got mentors, checked online, the online courses, sometimes they're online courses. And with learning, it doesn't have to be as expensive as we think it is. With Google now, you can learn almost everything on Google. You can learn almost everything on YouTube. And like Ijoma said, Pinterest is my best friend. Even techniques, I learned some techniques online. And sometimes they are hidden, but just keep searching for, and it's all there, So those are critical steps into a creative enterprise, yeah? And then I think finally, you have to be a person of action. A person of decided action backed with passion. You see, passion is that thing that drives your vision. Passion is that thing that helps people around you, assists you, even though they don't understand what you are doing. But because of the passion you exhibit, they are drawn to you and they're forced to help you. Example is like what I said, my mom, she didn't understand what I was doing, but whatever this guy is doing, it must make him happy. So, well, let's help him in the way we can. Even then, I remember, because when I decided to go for internship, was my sister who had tried always possible to get me into a bank. She said, okay, is this what you want to do? Okay, I'm going to pay for it. How much is it? I'm going to pay for it. So that passion would, even when you start a business, when you start your creative enterprise, that passion will help you communicate your vision to your clients. It will set you apart. It's like an energy that drives you. Times will come when, things will not work out the way you plan them to be, e.g. COVID, So times will come when you're discouraged by all the basic, the reasonable, if I can use that word, the realistic elements, environmental elements. It looks like you're not making money. It looks like, things are not happening the way you plan them to. But that passion would keep that vision burning. Vision is the bigger picture you have seen, that happens in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. That's the bigger picture. But that passion is what drives you. The passion will help you in even selecting your team. Because if you have a certain kind of fire inside of you, when you're trying to recruit your team, you look out for people that have that kind of fire, because you know that you don't want anyone who cannot work at your frequency, right? So that's the importance of, your passion and vision in taking action. The other part of taking action is just get up and do it. The real solution to almost every challenge we face is just getting up and doing it. A writer said, writing is not the problem. It is the getting up, sitting down to write that is the real problem. Once you can sit down, the writing will flow. Because you're a writer, the ideas inside of you. But once you can sit down, it will flow. So for all creative entrepreneurs out there, if you can just push yourself, don't forget the first thing is your thoughts pattern, your thoughts, because those thoughts are what will help you to take that action. But once you take that action, I've learned, and this is, I don't want to go all Christian and, but there's a magic about being bold and taking the first step that providence just aligns. It's like the universe just aligns and then starts bringing things your way. So the more you step, the more those things you want start stepping to you. Mm-hmm. This funny, yes, I'm sure everybody had a funny story about when you decide to buy a Range Rover, or you love a Range Rover, you want to buy a Range Rover.
Everybody has one.
Exactly. You just start seeing, oh, this is a blue one, this is a white one. Oh, okay. It's funny, but it's a law. I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. As long as it works for me and it brings me the kind of success I want. So once you take that bold step, whatever it is you want to do, for myself, my bold step in losing weight, I'm going for walks every day. Mm-hmm. From taking walks, I know to graduate into running, it's to graduate into other things, but take the first step and the rest opens up to you and start coming to you. Mm-hmm. So, so in brief, that's just my summary.
Fantastic.
That's the question.
Well done. Well done. That is amazing. I feel that being a creative, at least when you started 13 years ago, is more difficult than if, like you said, you wanted to work in a bank. And, I guess it takes a certain type of person to say, I know what I want. Or I may not know what I want, but I know what I don't want.
Yeah.
And clearly you were blessed. You have an understanding family, because there's some families that wouldn't have taken, what it is you said. One thing I want to find out is 13 years ago, event management and decor is not where it is now. How did you know to say, this is what I really want to do?
Okay, thank you for that question. The strange truth is, 13 years ago, the level of events we do in Nigeria today, they've been done in the Western world 20 years ago. Mm. And I realized that because now it seems, okay, we do events in certain ways in Nigeria, but when I went back to my roots, I stayed in Isolo. Mm-hmm. I went back there, I see the kind of events they do, some decorators. It's still the same thing that I used to do then. Yeah. So the real juice is deciding to break free, mm-hmm. deciding to move to the next level. Mm-hmm. That next level exists already. Mm-hmm. What I decided to become in 20 years, I'm sure it's already some people's reality, yeah. Based on funds and all that, the environment and all of that. But I need to decide to move to that level. Mm-hmm. And as I say, there's nothing new under the sun. We just keep modifying. So so at that time, it was just where I was and how events were done then, and then deciding to move, to how I think events should be done and into this new space.
Okay, another question about this event thing. In event planning, there's so many things you can do. How did you decide you wanted to do decor? I mean, I know you've been blowing up balloons since you were 2, but you know, how did you decide that, okay, you know what, in all of this, I mean, you could have fried puff puff, you could have fried dundu, you could have, you know, you could have been the wedding coordinator. How did you decide that, okay, you know what, this is what I just want to play in the decor space?
Okay, I will share a funny story. I'm not sure I've really shared this in public, but I'll just try. It's a very, very funny story.
Okay.
So it goes. The real answer to that question goes back to the first point: to yourself, be true. Understand who you are. Understand your why, as Ijoma said. Understand what you can do, what makes you you. Now, while I was working at as an event planner, that was my first job. There was a lady. We did a wedding in I think the Cedar Palace Hotel. I remember clearly, very clearly. So there was a lady that was a caterer then. She saw my agility. She saw my dedication. She saw my this guy. Are you normal? You know. So after the event, she called me to her home in Ikoyi. I'm sure you're trying to follow the background, you know. She called me to her home in Ikoyi, and she had cars. She was a big caterer, and she told me, you know, she would like to employ me. She would like me to work for her. That whatever, how much I'm being paid, she would double it. So because by God's grace, I was already grounded in my thought pattern. I knew where she was going. So I automatically tripled my salary then because I knew she couldn't, there's no way she could. So when I told her, I said, oh, then I said I was being paid 150. She said, no wonder you want to kill yourself on the job, which was a lie. I think I was being paid less than, you know, 50K then. But because I knew, you know, there's nothing she didn't tell me. She travels all the time. She has cars. I have access to the cars. Our home is our office. I can come here whenever I want to. You know, it was a very juicy, you know, offer. And if I didn't know who I was, it was easy for me to have just taken it. But I knew I wasn't called to be a caterer. Even when I decided to leave the event planning space to event design, it was clear, you know, normally how a lot of people these days, once they come to learn or work for a few times at your place, the next thing is they're going to set up their own. But I knew what I wanted. I knew I wasn't an event planner. That was just a process in my life. I understood it clearly. So there was no point in me trying to say because I'm fantastic at event planning, let me to go and, you know, start. No, I knew who I was. Because during the event planning, all those times, I would voluntarily stay overnight and stay with the decorators because I like the idea of them arranging flowers. I watch them climb up to drape and all of that. So it was easy for me. So the answer to the question, sit down with yourself and understand really who you are, what you can do, because those thoughts will inform your decision and your choices. Choices are what creates our future. The choice I made today will create my 20 years. The choice I made 10 years ago creates my today. So once you understand and you are sure of the choices between you and your God, it will be easy for you to move distractions away, no matter how juicy they get.
Okay, so what one thing do you want to leave us with? You've articulated it very well.